Yesterday, NewsX did an in-depth telecast on what it would cost to buy the straw baler machines that are needed to ensure the state of Punjab isn't set on fire every October. Mr. Bhattacharya, do you think that's the way forward? A bit of carrot and a bit of stick, but incentivizing the farmer is perhaps a long-term solution rather, because obviously implementing this in such a way that creates a sort of a fear is also not the solution.
See, if you look at, let's say, what Andhra Pradesh has done, they've given 50% subsidy on the straw baler machines that are being bought over there. And a lot of uptake of straw baler machines has happened in Andhra Pradesh. Similarly, as the co-panelist, Mr. Khan, mentioned, that in Punjab there is all the tools available for monitoring. It seems to be largely a governance failure. NASA has been telling us for the last 3-4 weeks the number of fires is going up, but not a single action has been taken, not a single penal action has been taken. Obviously, farmers form a very large part of the voter base, and therefore actions will not get taken. In a democracy, we'll all seem to be getting boiled as a frog in hot water. Because as the pollution is going up, we simply can't do anything because of the democratic mechanisms in which our society works, and we can't bring to book those who need to be brought to book. It's almost like saying, I'll grow wheat or paddy, and along with it, I'll give you a pellet of poison, because that's what's happening. Then the pellet not coming directly, it's coming through the air to us. If it's unaffordable, that will have food and then poison along with it. And therefore, the government has to step in, the state government has to step in. And we find a very strange situation where the Delhi government says that data is not available. If you say data is not available and you don't know where the source of pollution is coming from, then what action will you take? Obviously, these are ways of saying that I will not take any action. All the data is available. All the satellite data is available. Why isn't any single farmer being penalized? And along with it, why can't we give subsidies? If money has been given for all other kinds of subsidies, why can't subsidies be given for the balers, for the milching machine, and so on and so forth? If you look at the jute industry, and there is about 4 million jute farmers that are there in this country. They cut the jute and they don't burn any of the stock. It gets plowed back into the soil along with the leaves, and that becomes fertilizer for the next cultivation that they do. I don't see why we can't adopt such practices for other crops also. And one has to wait for 10-15 days. It's worth the wait to make sure that the stem is put back into the soil. Also, with the machines coming in, they cut the straws at a much higher level, and therefore it becomes very difficult for a subsequent machine to come in and pluck out the straws and take them out of the field. So changes need to be made to the machines also. And then some of the machines have to have a tractor along with it, which becomes a challenge for many of the smaller farmers. It's a combination of multiple things that needs to be done. And it is clearly a public issue, because if we leave it to individual farmers, then game theory steps in, because no single farmer loses. If you burn the crop, no single farmer loses. But collectively, everybody loses. So it's a very game theoretic issue. And since it's a public issue, the government needs to step in with all the force. They seem to have abdicated all responsibility and hiding behind data or lack of data and so on and so forth. This is not an acceptable situation. People are dying, and somebody has to be responsible for it, and somebody has to ensure that this kind of deaths of people needs to be stopped on an immediate basis.
My point is that we have seen the National Green Tribunal coming heavily on cars and saying cars which are older than 10 years will be banned, and petrol cars over 15 years will be banned. I don't see them acting against the burning of straws. NGT is missing. Where is NGT right now? When they came out so heavily on the middle class, because middle class can bear everything. You can put everything on middle class, more taxes, take away their cars, snatch their cars. Why can't they come out with a regulation against burning of straws, and then let the regulation get implemented by the respective state governments? And second, the respective state governments needs to pull up their socks and get into the act. They need to put the carrots and the sticks, and they should need to do it on a very urgent basis. because every year people are dying. There's murder that's happening. So there needs to be a sense of urgency rather than having committees and GRAP 1 and GRAP 2 trying to grapple with the situation. We are beyond that. The government must recognize there's deaths happening and take urgent steps on this.